Hello, everyone, and welcome to General Hospital Official Channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. Today on General Hospital, Justine turns to Jordan for advice, as Sunny does the same with Rick. Plus, Cullum has questions for Jason about Britt and the 5 poppies. Outside the brown dog, Justine pulls away from her and Sunny's kiss and promptly slaps him. She warns him that will never happen again and storms off. Inside, Nathan joins Lulu at a table, and she jumps to the assumption that he's back with Maxie, but he tells her that's not the case. He fills her in that Maxie chose Spinelli, and Lulu is sorry, as she knows it's like no time has passed for him. Nathan says Maxie's decision makes sense, given all that has happened to her. Lulu asks, "What if Maxie had chosen you?" Nathan says that had Maxie chosen him, then he would have honored that out of respect for their marriage and for James. However, if it were his decision, he would have chosen to pursue what's happening between them. Lulu notes that what happened between them happened because Maxie wasn't here. And while she sees him as more than a friend, Maxie is still her best friend, and she doesn't want to hurt her. Jordan meets up with Justine at the hatchet range and asks what's going on. Why did she call her? Justine tells her about a case that fell apart due to mishandled evidence. She went to the brown dog for a much-needed drink, only to have Sunny offer a sympathetic ear. She opened up and felt it wasn't as if he was angling for anything other than to be nice. Jordan notes Sunny showed her empathy, which he's capable of, but he is a complicated man, and he's still a criminal. Jordan tells her to ask herself, if she had the opportunity, would she still prosecute him? Rick drops by Sunny's, having gotten his urgent message to talk, and assumes his brother has been charged with something. Sunny says he just needed to run something by him, and says he kissed Justine. However, after she pushed him away and slapped him, and told him it could never happen again. Rick fears Turner could accuse him of harassment, but Sunny doesn't believe she will. Rick asks Sunny how much interaction he and Justine have had. Have they crossed this line before? Will it happen again? Sunny says what happens is up to Justine. Rick wonders if this is a play by his brother, or if there is something real between them. Sunny insists it wasn't a maneuver on his part, so Rick asks if Justine could be playing him. In their bedroom at the QS, Chase thanks Brooke Lynn for having his back with Michael, but she needs answers. Chase admits he is responsible for the PCPD getting the warrant for Michael's keys, as he knew a key to Drew's house was on his keyring. Chase explains he followed his instincts, taking Michael's keys and finding a key to Drew's house on his ring. Because he broke the chain of evidence, he set Nathan up to be the one to make the discovery. She tells him Michael is not stupid enough to shoot Drew, frame Willow, and keep the key on his keyring. How is it that everyone sees this but Chase? Brooke Lynn tells Chase that he crossed a line, and the only explanation for what he did is that he wants revenge on Michael for what he thinks he did to Willow. Chase makes it clear that he fully believes Michael shot Drew and left him to die, and framed Willow for it to take her kids. Brooke Lynn counters that he only believes Michael did that. He has no proof, and this could cost him everything. So is it really worth it? Is Chase really worth it at this point, Brooke Lynn? Maybe that's the question you should be asking yourself. At Windmere, Pascal finds Lucas sneaking off after dinner and alerts Sidwell and Marco. Lucas explains he just got paged and has to go to work, so Marco walks Lucas out. Marco asks him to call and check in before he comes back. Marco kisses Lucas and runs back to his dad. Meanwhile, Sidwell and Pascal get into it again over Lucas, with Pascal certain that Lucas is a problem. Sidwell says he'll deal with Lucas and his son, and for the nosy butler to stop interfering and potentially tipping them off about their suspicions. Marco returns to the house. Pascal heads off, and Marco suggests to his dad that he and Lucas find a place of their own, or at least that Lucas should move out. Sidwell refuses to let Marco leave, as he must help manage Cullum and Britt, and he asks if Lucas is unhappy here. Lying, Marco says Lucas is happy here, but doesn't want Lucas to find out anything or see something he shouldn't. Sidwell asks his son if Lucas has already become aware of something. Cullum drops by Britt's office at GH, and he is pleased with her progress on their project. He says now she needs to deliver the actual device prototype, and Jens is taking care of acquiring the components she needs. Cullum leaves her. Later, Lucas shows up and drops the bomb on her. He knows she's being extorted by Jens and Marco, since Marco told him everything. She says Marco is as dangerous as his father, so he should dump Marco and get far away from him. Lucas refuses and says he is trying to get Marco away from Sidwell, but that can't happen until he saves her. So how does he do that? Jason meets with Jack in his WSB office, and Jack believes Britt is in danger from Ross Cullum. Jason knows Cullum is Sidwell's partner, but doesn't say anything. Jack says what he is about to tell Jason is classified. He doesn't know what Ross knows about the Five Poppies operation, but they cannot let Cullum find out about Joss. He made a mistake bringing her in and needs Jason to help protect Joss. Jack explains that he's blacked out Joss' entire record, and she's been put on leave, but they have to keep Joss off Cullum's radar. She has too many important connections, which makes Joss a valuable agent to Cullum. That's when Cullum bursts in. Jack explains he was filling Jason in on Ross' request to see him, and he steps out. Ross assumes Jason knows why he's here, but Jason doesn't know a damn thing and has no intention of talking to him or Brennan. Cullum says this doesn't need to be a hostile conversation, and all he wants is to learn about the security incident at the Five Poppies. Jason explains that everyone thought Britt died 3 years ago, but he saw her in Paris last summer and tracked her down to that resort. All he wanted to do was help Britt out of whatever mess she got herself into. At Sonny's, Rick reminds his brother that he's the biggest fish any DA in Port Charles will want to land, so Justine could be using this closeness between them to get evidence on him. At the hatchet range, Justine swears to Jordan that if she had evidence against Sonny, she wouldn't hesitate to use it. Jordan cautions her that Sonny might care about her, as long as she doesn't get in his way or impede his freedom. At home, Brooke Lynn tells her husband they are trying to adopt, and every aspect of their life will be under a microscope. He has to choose adoption or justice. At the bar, Nathan tells Lulu they have a chance to see what this could be, and he thinks it's worth a try. She motions her hand towards his, but pulls back. Nathan asks if she wants this to be over. In the WSB office, Jason continues to try to snow Cullum. He says he helped Britt get back on her feet and set her up with a place in town. But the moment she was back at GH, she decided she had no use for him anymore and cut him loose. At Windmere, Marco tells his father that Lucas is an amazing, trusting man and has no idea what is going on here or that he's involved in his father's business. Pascal eavesdrops and either doesn't seem to believe Marco, is jealous of Lucas, or likely both. Finally, at GH, Britt tells Lucas that Marco and Sidwell have an experimental drug keeping her hunting suppressed in exchange for her doing what they want. The meds are under lock and key, so she can't get a sample to reverse engineer. Lucas thinks, seeing that he lives at Windmere, maybe he can. On the next General Hospital, S. Lucas warns Ava to stay away from Sidwell before she gets in deeper, and Carly tells Valentine that they have a complication. The day begins with tension crackling in the air, like a storm about to break. Outside the Brown Dog, the winter sunlight glints off the sidewalk, but nothing feels warm. Justine and Sonny share a moment that feels electric, but fleeting. Their lips part, and Justine's hand lashes out, delivering a sharp, stinging slap across Sonny's cheek. Time seems to freeze as she warns him, voice trembling with equal parts anger and hurt, that this, whatever this was, will never happen again. And just like that, she storms off, leaving Sonny standing in stunned silence, the remnants of a kiss and a lesson he hadn't quite learned lingering in the cold air. Inside, the world feels smaller, quieter, more intimate. Nathan slides into a booth across from Lulu, and the weight of the past hangs between them like smoke. Lulu, her eyes wide with assumptions, jumps to a conclusion that Nathan must be back with Maxie. But Nathan shakes his head, a gentle, sad smile touching his lips. Maxie chose Spinelli. Lulu lets out a soft sigh, understanding more than she says. She knows the way life keeps moving, even when hearts are still. Nathan's voice is calm, but heavy with truth. He admits he would have honored Maxie's choice out of respect for their marriage and for James. But if it were his decision alone, he would have chosen differently. He would have pursued the connection that had quietly, painfully, grown between them. Lulu studies him, seeing the quiet longing, the restraint, and the pain. She reminds him that what happened between them happened because Maxie wasn't there. Maxie is still her best friend, and Lulu isn't ready to betray that bond, no matter what her heart might want. Across town, the scene shifts to the hatchet range, where Justine takes a deep breath, steadying herself before speaking. Jordan stands nearby, watchful, sensing the storm Justine carries. When asked why she called, Justine recounts a case gone wrong, a career setback tied to mishandled evidence. She admits that she'd gone to the Brown Dog for a drink, needing solace, only for Sonny to offer a listening ear. And in that moment, she confesses it felt like he was just being kind, not scheming, not calculating, just listening. Jordan's response is careful, layered with concern. Sonny is capable of empathy, she reminds Justine, but he is also a complicated man, a criminal, a man whose morality is never simple. She pushes Justine to ask herself the question that could change everything. If the opportunity arose, would she still prosecute him? Meanwhile, back at Sonny's, Rick arrives, the tension palpable, the weight of urgent messages between them like an invisible chain. He assumes the worst, that his brother has been charged with something, but Sonny shakes his head. No charges, just a confession. He kissed Justine. The moment ends abruptly, with her hand on his chest, her warning clear and uncompromising. Rick's brow furrows with concern, fearing this closeness could become a trap. Could Turner accuse Sonny of harassment? But Sonny shrugs, convinced she won't. Their conversation deepens, a dangerous dance along the edge of trust and suspicion. Rick probes, questioning whether this is a momentary lapse or something more, whether Justine might be playing Sonny, or if there's a genuine connection between them. Sonny insists, defiant, that this was no maneuver. Rick's eyes narrow, searching for truth hidden in shadows. Meanwhile, in the quiet of the QS bedroom, Chase and Brooke Lynn confront truths that are harder to bear than any criminal accusation. Chase thanks Brooke Lynn for standing by him with Michael, yet the questions come fast, slicing through the warmth of their intimacy. He confesses his own complicity, the warrant for Michael's keys, the chain of evidence broken. He followed his instincts, believing he was protecting Willow, believing Michael was capable of heinous acts. Brooke Lynn's voice is calm, yet sharp, cutting through the fog of Chase's conviction. Michael is not stupid, she insists. He would not shoot Drew, frame Willow, and keep the key to the crime on his keyring. How can Chase see everything but still miss this? She tells him he crossed a line. Revenge, she says quietly, is not justice. And yet, he cannot let it go, his belief in Michael's guilt anchoring him to choices that could cost everything he loves. The story shifts to Windmere, a world of quiet corridors and hidden agendas. Pascal catches Lucas sneaking off after dinner, a careful game of observation and deception unfolding in the shadows. Lucas explains he has work to do, a lie veiled in urgency. Marco walks him out, offering a kiss and a reminder to check in, a gesture that is gentle, yet weighted with worry. Inside the mansion, tensions flare. Pascal accuses Sidwell of mismanagement, convinced Lucas is a problem. Sidwell counters, sharp, defensive, telling Pascal to back off. The layers of loyalty, ambition, and deception overlap like a chessboard. Marco returns to Sidwell, suggesting Lucas needs his own space, a life outside this intricate web of power, but Sidwell refuses. Lucas must stay, must help manage Britt and Cullum, even if it means living in lies. And then there's Britt, caught in the crosshairs of ambition and danger. Cullum visits her at GH, praising her progress but demanding results. A device must be delivered, components gathered, and the stakes are unrelenting. Later, Lucas confronts her, revealing a secret she had tried to keep. He knows she is being extorted, controlled by Jens and Marco. The fear in her eyes is immediate, visceral. She warns Lucas of the danger. Marco is as perilous as his father. Lucas, resolute, insists he's trying to protect Marco from Sidwell, even if it means risking everything to save Britt first. Across town, Jason sits with Jack in the WSB office, tension coiling like a spring. Jack warns him of the danger Britt faces from Ross Cullum. He can't disclose everything, but he stresses the importance of keeping Joss off Cullum's radar. Jason listens, calculating, protective, even as Cullum suddenly bursts in, the room charged with an almost tangible electricity. Jason feigns ignorance, telling Cullum he only wanted to help Britt, who had long since moved on. Cullum's calm veneer hides a threat, an unspoken demand for information Jason does not intend to give. Back at Sonny's, Rick's cautionary words echo. Justine could be using Sonny to gather evidence. Across town, Justine reassures Jordan that if she had proof against Sonny, she would act. Jordan warns her, however, that Sonny might care, that his affection exists as long as she doesn't impede him, an entanglement that could have consequences neither fully anticipates. Brooke Lynn delivers a stark reality check to Chase at home. Their life is under a microscope now, trying to adopt while balancing justice. Every choice matters. Nathan, meanwhile, encourages Lulu to explore what could be, a moment of hope, a possibility, a hand extended but not yet taken. Jason continues his delicate dance with Cullum, deflecting, redirecting, all while trying to protect Britt and keep secrets hidden. At Windmere, Marco praises Lucas's trustworthiness to his father, but Pascal lingers, watching, skeptical, envious, perhaps plotting. Finally, the truth of Britt's predicament comes into sharp focus. She reveals to Lucas the horrifying reality. Experimental drugs keeping her hunting suppressed, her autonomy stripped, the medications locked away, inaccessible. Lucas's mind races. Living at Windmere might give him the leverage to find a solution, but time is critical, danger imminent. And as the screen fades to black, the promise of tomorrow hangs heavy. Lucas warns Ava to stay away from Sidwell before she gets in too deep, while Carly confronts Valentine with complications that could change everything. Secrets, betrayal, love, and danger, all swirling together. The pulse of Port Charles quickens, and viewers are left on the edge, heart racing, waiting for the next explosive chapter. The morning light at Windmere casts long shadows across the grand estate, but within its opulent halls, tension simmers like a hidden fire. Marco walks beside his father, Sidwell, their conversation calm on the surface but charged beneath with unspoken truths. Lucas remains blissfully unaware of the full scope of the dangers surrounding him, trusting Marco's assurances even as Pascal's eyes linger, sharp and suspicious. There is a quiet envy in Pascal's gaze, or perhaps it's fear that the delicate balance he thinks he controls could tip at any moment. Later, Lucas finds himself face to face with Britt once more. The air between them is thick with urgency, desperation, and a fragile thread of hope. Britt lays it all bare. Marco and Sidwell are controlling her through experimental drugs, keeping her hunting suppressed. Every dose, every locked vial, is a chain, a weapon to force her obedience. Her voice trembles as she explains, but there's determination too, a fire that refuses to be extinguished. Lucas listens, silent, absorbing the weight of her words. Living at Windmere may give him the opportunity to find a solution. He may be her only hope. Across Port Charles, Jason continues his delicate balancing act in the WSB office. Cullum's presence looms like a storm cloud. Every word Jason speaks is measured, deflecting, protecting Britt while keeping Joss's secrets hidden. Cullum's patience is a weapon, his gaze heavy with expectation. Jason's mind races, calculating every possible outcome. He can't afford a misstep. Not now, not ever. Meanwhile, Sonny finds himself haunted by Rick's warnings. The line between danger and desire is razor thin. Justine could be using him, but Sonny knows. He feels it. That what happened is no ploy. Rick's doubts linger in the room like smoke, unrelenting. The brothers' conversation is a high-stakes dance of trust and suspicion, each word weighed, each pause pregnant with potential consequences. At the hatchet range, Justine confides in Jordan again, her voice steady but heart racing. If she had evidence against Sonny, she swears, she would use it without hesitation. Jordan's warning echoes in her mind. Sonny's care exists only so long as she doesn't interfere, only as long as she doesn't impede his freedom. Justine closes her eyes, letting the hatchet rest in her hands, trying to sort out the tangled web of duty, desire, and danger. Back at home, Brooke Lynn delivers an emotional reckoning to Chase. Adoption is no simple choice. Every action scrutinized, every decision judged. Justice and family collide in his mind, and he realizes the precariousness of his situation. Every step forward feels like a test, and the cost of misjudgment is unthinkable. Meanwhile, Nathan and Lulu share a rare, quiet moment of possibility. Nathan reaches for her hand, hesitant yet hopeful, inviting her to explore what could be. Lulu's fingers brush his, almost touching, but then she pulls back. uncertainty, and fear mingling with longing. The tension between them is a silent promise, a question hanging in the air. Will they dare to risk it all for love? At GH, the stakes are equally high. Jason's careful deception continues, explaining to Cullum that Britt no longer needs him, that she's made her own choices, all while silently protecting her from an enemy who cannot be allowed to see her. Each word is a gamble, each pause a potential trap. Cullum's sharp gaze never wavers, a predator testing the boundaries of his prey. Back at Windmere, the fragile balance between loyalty, love, and deception is pushed to its limit. Marco praises Lucas's honesty and trust, yet Pascal lingers, a shadow of doubt and jealousy. The dynamic is complex, a chess game where every piece holds secrets, every move could trigger chaos. The tension escalates as Lucas and Britt uncover the horrifying truth about the experimental drugs controlling her. Every locked vial, every controlled dose, is a reminder of the power wielded by Sidwell and Marco. Britt's voice cracks with frustration and fear, yet her resolve remains unbroken. Lucas's mind races, plotting, calculating, willing to risk everything to free her. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the danger is palpable. Across town, Ava is warned by Lucas to stay away from Sidwell before she finds herself trapped deeper in the web of manipulation. Carly, ever vigilant, confronts Valentine with complications that could unravel everything. Every character's world is spinning, intersecting in moments of betrayal, revelation, and the high-stakes game of survival and love that defines Port Charles. As the day fades into evening, the city itself seems to hold its breath. Secrets, lies, and loyalties collide. Every whispered warning, every carefully measured word, every glance across a crowded room carries weight. Sunny's heart is pulled between danger and desire. Justine navigates the treacherous waters of her conscience. Chase teeters between justice and vengeance. Lucas and Britt fight for freedom against forces that would control their lives. Nathan and Lulu flirt with the edges of possibility. And Jason maneuvers through a minefield of espionage, protecting those he loves while avoiding the wrath of enemies who see all but reveal nothing. The city of Port Charles, ever vibrant, ever dangerous, pulses with life, and viewers are left perched on the edge of anticipation. Every choice, every confession, every act of courage or betrayal sets the stage for the next explosive chapter. As the screen fades to black, the promise of heartbreak, redemption, and impossible love looms large. On the next episode of General Hospital, Lucas races to warn Ava. Carly confronts Valentine with shocking developments, and the intricate web of secrets, love, and betrayal in Port Charles tightens its grip, pulling everyone into the storm.